And welcome everybody to college basketball on FSN Northwest. And the Husky students anxious to get in out of the rain, get inside and cheer once again for their Huskies as they step out of the Pac-10 conference just momentarily to take on the Cornell Big Red out of the Ivy League. Hi again everybody, Happy New Year to you. I'm Paul Sunderland and Happy New Year to you, my distinguished partner Larry Farmer. And what an exciting beginning to the Pac-10 season, particularly here at Heck Edmondson Pavilion, a place where the Washington Huskies had not lost since January of 2004. They lose in double overtime, 96-95, to the University of Arizona. The 32-game winning streak is at an end. But maybe very lucky with respect to the schedule, Larry. Not time to dwell on that loss. They got to get right back at it, not only against Cornell tonight, but against Washington State on Saturday.
Well, sometimes it's not what you remember, it's how soon you can forget, and having a game 2 days later is probably perfect, and especially an opponent like Cornell will slow it down. Washington State's on the horizon, and that's exactly what they're going to see.
Well, before we talk about the future and tonight, we have to take a look back, because what a weekend, what back-to-back games to kick off his senior run through the Pac-10 conference by Brandon Roy.
Well, Brandon Roy really showed the complete package. There was talk all summer long as to whether or not he was going to be the go-to guy or the take-charge guy. He exerted his leadership. You know, with that strong body of his, he scores on the inside as well as he does on the outside. But it came down to him having to make big plays in the Arizona game. And he put the team on his back. He made some big threes. I think he gave everyone around him the confidence in knowing that he's for real, and when the team needs a basket, they can go to Brandon Roy.
Ryan Appleby had to take a desperation three-point shot to try to send that to another overtime. Brandon Roy had fouled out with 54 seconds remaining. As far as Cornell is concerned, they come in at 4-7. They've got to play a near-perfect basketball game tonight. They got a pretty good senior of their own in Lenny Collins from Southern California, projected to be the Ivy League Player of the Year.
You know, Lenny Collins is a terrific player. He's an excellent outside shooter. You see he's averaging about 14 points a game. But he's a terrific playmaker. He can use screens. He's very good in the offense and reading defenses. But he's very good, which is overlooked, on the defensive end of the floor.
Cornell comes up to Heck Edmondson Pavilion, 0-6 on the road. So looking for their first road victory. I think maybe they have come to the wrong place. We'll be right back here on the beautiful campus of the University of Washington and Heck Edmondson Pavilion for the starting lineup and the tip between the Washington Huskies and Cornell. Back inside Bank of America Arena at Heck Edmondson Pavilion. Paul Sunderland with Larry Farmer to introduce the starting lineups for you for the Washington Huskies. Familiar one and all, Bobby Jones, Jamal Williams, John Brockman. Look for him to get off early, Brandon Roy. And the freshman Justin Dentman having an outstanding start to his collegiate career. And Lorenzo Romar in his fourth season here in Seattle, assisted by Cameron Dollar, Paul Fortier, and Jim Shaw. For Cornell, they are 4-7 overall, coming off a loss Friday night at Long Beach State. Ryan Work, local product, Lenny Collins, Andrew Nave inside, Graham Dow, and Adam Gore, fine freshman out of Indiana. They're coached in his sixth year by Steve Donahue, spent 10 years an assistant at Penn, and each and every year has improved this team.
And pace should be very important at the start of this ball game. Look for Cornell to try and milk the offense, milk the shot clock, and get deep into it, and watch for Washington to really turn up the heat defensively and try to create havoc and turnovers.
Washington controls the opening tip. Mentioned Detman having an outstanding start. Second in the Pac-10 right now in assist-turnover ratio, as well as shooting free throws brilliantly. Williams with a miss, and Nave with a rebound off the air ball. Gore, quick look ahead. Rourke had the ball stripped away, and nice smart play, which you might expect out of it. I hate to say it, but we'll go there early. Cornell, part of the Ivy League. You expect players from Princeton, Columbia, Harvard, etc. to make a smart, quick play, and Lenny Collins did. Cornell at a glance. I was surprised to see they have almost 14,000 students in Ithaca, New York. They go by simply the Big Red, and last year they were 13-14, 8-6 in the Ivy League. Second place finish in the Ivy, their highest finish in 17 years. Mentioned that their fine head coach Steve Donahue, who we had a chance to visit with this afternoon. 5 wins, 9 wins, 11 wins, 13 wins each and every year, building that program and getting a little bit better.
And we could see by the way he conducted his practice both yesterday and today. Very organized, kids work very, very hard and very attentive. So he's doing a nice job in teaching these kids how to play basketball.
Collins with it on the dribble. Pass inside to Rourke, had some room along the baseline. Nice pass, down inside, unguarded, is Andrew Nave, 6'9" junior, out of Miles, Iowa. Gets the first basket of the night.
And Ryan Rourke doing a very nice job of taking his time and not rushing shots.
Jamal Williams at the other end finally got the handle and returned the favor with a jump hook.
You know, early on in a ball game when the butterfly still might be in the stomach, you've got to grasp the ball on both ends and make sure that you firmly have it before you try to do anything else with it.
Gore comes up dry, the junior out of Ontario, Canada. Washington quickly at the other end, and a steal that time by Gore. Freshman out of Monrovia, Indiana. Pass down inside is knocked away by Williams. Bobby Jones quickly on the break, and a foul in the open court taken by Graham Dow of Cornell.
And Graham Dow is so important to Cornell, both offensively and defensively. He can ill afford to pick up cheap fouls like that. You know, you get back on defense, you cover the ball if that's your assignment, but you don't want to get fouls reaching because he needs to be on the floor to give Cornell a chance.
Bobby Jones finds himself all alone on the inbounds pass, gets the soft bounce for his first basket. Jones, the senior out of Los Angeles, averaging 11 points, 4 rebounds per game.
Against this spread offense, Washington really wants to pressure the ball and deny one pass away without giving up back doors.
Beautiful pass to Rourke, swatted away from behind that time. Good recovery at the defensive end by Jamal Williams, but it will be free throws coming to Cornell.
But Ryan Rourke does a very nice job of keeping his head up. And when Graham Dow drives, what you do as one of the perimeter players is anytime you get dribble penetration, get yourself in a position. If there's a shot, you can rebound and miss. Or if there's not a shot, if your man goes to help, you can receive a pass. And that's exactly what Ryan Rourke did. Got open, got the ball, and put himself in a position to score.
Rourke, one of those local products. Ryan Rourke, 6'8" senior out of Bothell, Washington, went on to Mesa Community College before going back to Ithaca, New York, and Cornell University. Now coming into the game is Khalik Gant out of Norcross, Georgia, for Cornell. Tied at 4 after both free throws were successful.
And Cornell extending their defense into a half-court 1-3-1 trap. And anytime you extend your defense, the good news is you have a chance to trap and maybe create a little bit of havoc, maybe force an errant pass or a quick shot. The bad news is if Washington takes their time and they attack it, you run the risk of not only giving up a high percentage shot, but also a second shot, which Washington is very good at hitting the offensive board.
Roy almost, and he does turn it over. So Graham Dow with it out of the backcourt. Here's Rourke, thought about the three, dribble, strong dive down inside, bodies flying, and an aggressive play by Rourke will get him 2 more free throws. There is Lorenzo Romar, and boy, talk about players having to move on. The coaches have to do that as well with respect to that emotional 96-95 loss in double overtime. What a great college basketball game.
You know, you think in terms of the drama that went into that ball game and some of the other games that we've seen, you know, so far this year, Michigan State and Gonzaga. And it's just a great start to what should be a great college basketball season.
How ironic. I mean, Gonzaga doing a great job playing at their beautiful home in Spokane. Now they have the nation's longest winning streak at 30 games. So free throws good again now by Rourke, and it is Cornell on top of the Huskies by 2. Jones tries to tie things up. Williams using that big body down inside, and Rourke, pretty physical in his own right, holds his ground and then gets the rebound.
It's good offensive rebound by Williams, but probably not the best of decisions because the rebound, to get the rebound, Williams was not in a great offensive position.
Dow on the dribble, and a holding foul is going to be called against Detman. Wearing number 5 for Washington in their gold uniforms.
You know, right now, Cornell is not playing as patient as I thought they might during the first 5 minutes of the ball game. But after 1 or 2 passes in their offense, they're looking for back doors, or they're feeling that they've got the Washington defense spread apart sufficiently enough where they're putting it on the floor and attacking the basket.
Rourke will head to the sideline to get a quick break, and coming on, Jason Hartford out of Tillamook, Oregon, 6'9", 230 pounds. Entry pass to Nave, fumbles momentarily. Collins still without a shot. Good look down inside. And there is Collins right on cue, misses the three-pointer, strong rebound taken by Brockman.
That's good transition defense back by Cornell. You give up a shot, but it's a shot that no one is surprised by. It gives you a chance to rebound the ball offensively, but also, more importantly, to get back on defensively if you can't get that rebound.
Foul was on Lenny Collins, his first personal foul. Washington now with 3 team fouls, Cornell with 2, and coming into the game now, uwvideo out of Houston, Texas.
And that's one of the things that Coach Donahue will do frequently is substitute. He likes to bring players in and out, keep them fresh, keep them focused.
Cornell showing some zone, and right away on the weak side, Brockman gets a beautiful dish from Jamal Williams. Been a quiet 3 games for John Brockman. Total of 10 points and 13 rebounds over the last 3 contests. Fouled out against Arizona. Minutes limited because of that foul trouble, played just 21 minutes.
And Paul, that's a part of that learning process. You're going to have games where it just seems like the ball just comes right to you and there's no way to avoid it on offense. There are other games where, because of the makeup of the Washington team, there are going to be other options and other players making solid contributions. So, you know, John Brockman's future is right here at Washington. And as he learns how to play in this system, he's going to find ways and invent ways to get the ball and give himself scoring opportunities. But he does so much more for this team.
Steve Donahue going to his bench early and often. Several subs. Rourke, who just left, comes back on, out there now with Hartford. uwvideo had a look at it, and his shot was blocked. Already Washington has come back to deny a couple of baskets when it looked like Cornell had almost uncontested layups.
Well, and that's the Husky defense. And first and foremost, it's getting there or being there and denying those early leads, but also applying pressure to every shot and only giving the opposition 1 shot. You know, it was some of those elements were missing in the second half of that Arizona game, and visiting with Coach Romar, and he's very concerned about how they not only start the first half, but the second half defensively as well.
Did a great job against the Wildcats in the opening half, holding them way down in terms of their field goal percentage, particularly from behind the arc. Williams gets the soft touch, and that basket falls. Jamal Williams in the game now with 4.
Well, you can see Jamal Williams really worked on that medium-range jump shot over the summer, and he's very comfortable, very confident with that little fall away to create space.
Hartford with it on the right side, wearing that heavy bandage on his right wrist. Broke it against Syracuse. Played a couple of games and then missed 5, just his 2nd or 3rd game back. Beautiful look down inside, and Cornell is doing a great job with backdoor cuts, getting things in the paint against Washington.
They certainly are, and that's a part of what they do offensively, is spread the floor, look for quick hitters, but against solid pressure, they want to take you backdoor or spread you and go off the dribble.
Just underway here in Seattle. It is the Huskies 8 and Cornell 8. We'll be right back. The Huskies and Cornell Big Red tied at 8, just underway here at Heck Edmondson Pavilion, and John Brockman active on the glass as usual.
You talk about different ways of scoring, and right there you see him just working in the seams of that zone, making himself available not only for a pass, but perhaps an offensive rebound. And here's another where he assumes the shot's missed and gets himself in great position. He doesn't touch the ball, which would have been basket interference, but you can see very clearly from that illustration that he's getting himself in a position, whether he gets the ball through the offense or on that board, to make himself an offensive weapon.
Shooting 59% from the floor, 2nd best in the Pac-10, also ranked among the league leaders in rebounding. 5th with 7.3 per game. Roy, beautiful form on the pull-up jumper, but an ugly result. An air ball there, but Ryan Rourke lost the ball out of bounds. And you'd have to think that Cornell got exactly the start they wanted. They looked fairly comfortable. Steve Donahue has been running players in and out, maybe trying to get a whole host of players comfortable in this environment. Again, they're coming off a loss at Long Beach State on Friday. Been in Seattle and enjoying it for the last couple of days.
Yeah, Coach Donahue allowed his team to go up to the Space Needle on New Year's Eve and see the fireworks and bring in the New Year that way. So they've turned this West Coast trip not only into obviously an opportunity to play against some very good basketball teams, and particularly here a top 10 team, but to also culturally give these kids a chance to see the West Coast.
Ball mishandled there by Andrew Nave. So Jamal Williams had the basket at the other end, and that's going to be a turnover. Traveling violation. Well, we have a moment. Introduce the officials. Ruben Ramos, Randy Burkhart, and Don Tuggle tonight calling the game. Ryan Appleby on the floor.
And no sooner did Appleby get in, he made a very nice defensive rotation to come over and cut off the baseline, which forced the offensive player into a travel.
Turnover by the Huskies. One of the reasons they dropped that game here to Arizona was 19 turnovers. A very, granted, in that pressure cooker of a situation, that's still a big number.
Well, they average 15 turnovers per game, and you think about them averaging 91 points per game on offense. You know they're an up-and-down team, which creates more opportunities for turnovers, but you certainly have to take care of the ball.
Nice shot off the perimeter that time, knocked down by Andrew Nave, and Roy and Ryan Rourke collide along the sideline. Blocking foul is going to be called on Rourke. That's the third team foul now against Cornell. And for Rourke, that is just his first personal foul. Jamal Williams will go to the sideline, and he'll be replaced by Mike Jensen, his fourth game back after missing the first 9 with that reconstructive shoulder surgery on his left wing. Jones will inbound just inside of 13:50 remaining in the opening half. And the Huskies and the Big Red tied at 10.
Cornell coming out of that inbound situation in a zone defense, and they're extending that defense so they can account for where Ryan Appleby is.
Appleby on the dribble drive, kicks to the corner to Jones. That off the front of the iron. Jensen offensive rebound. And Appleby dribbles the ball out of trouble, and the Huskies will reset.
And you expect that kind of intelligent play from a fifth-year senior. Mike Jensen getting that ball in a position where he might have had an opportunity to score, didn't like it, kicks that ball back out and gives the Huskies a chance to get a better look.
That's going to be 3 free throws coming to Brandon Roy, and Lenny Collins looks at the official and says, wait a minute, I was on him, but did I really hit him? The official does call the foul. That's his second personal for Lenny Collins, averaging 14 points per game. Had a season-high 27 in the loss at Long Beach.
Well, Lenny Collins talked to us before the game and, shared with us his thoughts about what needed to happen early on in this game. And he said, if we're going to have a chance, we've all got to play within ourselves, and we got to play with poise. We can't go out and try to do things individually. We've got to let the offense come to us, and then we got to work real hard defensively. And so far, that's exactly what Cornell has done.
Brandon Roy makes the second after missing the first of 3 free throws. Also, poor free throw shooting plagued the Washington Huskies in their loss versus Arizona, just 14 of 23 in that game.
Well, Bobby Jones really dogging Dow in the backcourt to make him work, and that's exactly the kind of pressure you want to exert on a point guard. If you can make him work and use up energy to get the ball at the offensive end, not only does it take time off the clock, but that entry pass sometimes is not as smooth in its entry, and your offense doesn't start off running as well as you'd like it to. So just with ball pressure, you can really be disruptive to the offense.
Collins all the way to the basket. Beautiful reverse layup is good. And I was just about to say, with 2 personal fouls, he's got to be very careful taking the ball to the basket. He could pick up a charge.
He had his head up the whole time, and he kept his eyes busy to see if there was going to be any defensive rotation, which there wasn't, which allowed him to get all the way to the basket.
Nave with a rebound off the Roy miss. Nice skip pass. The freshman Adam Gore thought about it. Dow on the dribble. Little clear out inside. That's going to be a foul on Uwvideo. Clearing out real estate as Gore was easy going to the basket.
Well, you watch Lenny Collins right here. He sees that he's got a post player on his side who's going to fend off, but he keeps his head up, and that's really smart. He's a terrific jump shooter, so you really have to account for that, and you can't play off of him. He's got that quick first step. We talked about his ability to score and read the defense, and there's an example of that, just putting on the floor, getting to the basket.
Brockman has come back on for the Huskies, who are now tied again by Cornell at 12 apiece. Hans Gasser has come back on. Look inside. It goes to Gasser, who's fouled. Count the basket. And it'll be a chance for a 3-point play. Foul is on uwvideo.
Good ball movement. Brandon Roy right there spots Brockman, and Brockman doesn't handle the ball, but Very opportunistic bounce right to Gasser, and he attacks the basket. When you're inside like that against the zone, and you can pass the ball to the middle of it, you force the zone to collapse. And anytime you can make that extra pass out of it, you're going to get a good look. But very opportunistic that time by Gasser, being alert, ready for the ball, and then attacking the basket.
Gasser completes the three-point play, and now it is a three-point lead for the Washington Huskies. That was a second personal foul on uwvideo. Kick outside to David Lyle, looking for a three, and quickly to the rebound is Justin Detman.
You know, this pace that Cornell is playing at, and we talked about it earlier, we thought that they might look to go deeper and deeper into the shot clock. But, you know, when they start the Ivy League, this is the pace that they're going to play at. And, you know, you come out here and why not do the things that you're going to be doing later on in the season?
Foul on the play. We've got a break, and the Huskies on top of Cornell now by 3. There is some local favor to this basketball game. Jason Hartford from Tillamook, Oregon, now a 6'9", 230-pound junior. There's Uncle David, cousin Logan, and his grandfather Gerald on hand, supporting their offspring and relative Jason Hartford.
You know, you mentioned earlier about Hartford with the right broken hand, and I thought that perhaps he'd done it on the rim, which is, you know, the way a lot of basketball players do it, or on the floor. But I was actually told that he hit it on top of another player's head, and that's how he broke his
Were you there?
No, I was not there, but, you know, I try to always get information from the SID, and, you know, those guys will tell you anything you want.
Free throw good that time by Detman. Cornell made 4 free throws early. Washington now 5 of 6. And almost a turnover as falling into the backcourt was Khalid Grant.
And that's all that defensive pressure. It's starting to turn up, and Washington needs to do that. They need to make Cornell do some things that they're uncomfortable with.
Nice move by Rourke down along the baseline, can't finish, and screened off the play that time. Andrew Nave is able to hustle after the ball along with Hans Gasser of the University of Washington, and Collins is going to come back on with those 2 personal fouls.
Hans Gasser is not going to give up on this loose ball, and he figures he's got an angle. And Andrew Nave really did a smart thing. Again, we keep talking about smart in Cornell, but, you know, he got in between Gasser and the ball and let the ball go out of bounds.
Very close to a foul from where I'm sitting. Very close. Legally into the backcourt. Gore's got it out there now with Dow. Collins back on. We'll set the Washington lineup. Brockman, Joel Smith has come on. Ryan Appleby. Justin Detman on the floor applying pressure. Here's Collins. He comes up short, battled for and taken by John Brockman. I'm with you. Cornell is playing a little more quickly. They're taking the first good look as opposed to trying to run clock. And Steve Donahue said, look, we know what we're in against, but we're trying to prepare for our Ivy League season. As Detman with a rare turnover. We're going to play our style, the style that best prepares us for success in the Ivy League. We're not going to junk up the game just so we can say we were competitive against Washington. And freshman Adam Gore with a miss.
And in preparation for the Ivy League, that's really a smart thing to do, because you want to get better at what you do. You don't want to spend 3 or 4 days putting in plays or defenses that you're not going to use and then get in the Ivy League and have things then that you have to get better at doing.
7-0 run by the Huskies. They take a 19-12 lead as Brockman cleans up the mess down inside. Washington shooting 47%. Rourke another nice roll to the basket, and he looks very, very comfortable in his return home. Bothell, Washington, about 10-15 minutes north of here as Ryan Appleby hits his 32nd three-pointer of the season.
Well, in transition, he's awfully dangerous, and when you're sprinting down the floor, whether it be made or missed defensively, you've got to find Appleby, because if he's open and can square to the basket, he's putting that thing in the basket.
A 45% three-point shooter so far on the year. Rourke turning the corner. Beautiful pass. Nice look by Rourke. Maybe the best player on the floor so far for either team is Nave. with the basket and the finish.
Ryan Work, we talked about how he pushes himself. You know, he's one of the hardest working kids in practice and oftentimes gets more down on himself than the coaching staff. And, you know, he's got to learn to relax, but he's doing a very terrific job in there of finding teammates, dishing the ball, and attacking the basket and scoring.
And speaking of attacking, good place to go against the zone. Gasser, the nice pass from Smith with a turnaround jump shot. Previously, that was Jason Hartford with a nice basket off the Rourke dribble penetration. Steve Donahue has probably already made 20 substitutions in this game, and there are 3 more waiting at the scores table.
He believes in keeping the players fresh. He moves them in and out. And, you know, for some kids, if you're not used to playing that way, it can be tough. But when you're used to playing that way, you know you can go in and play as hard as you can, give it 3 or 4 minutes, and then you're back out, you rest, and you root for your teammates.
Brockman, turnaround jumper, beautiful shot off the glass.
Boy, the last 5 games, Brockman has only averaged 6 points a game and shooting just 46%, which brought his field goal percentage down on the year to 58%, which is still great, but he's playing with a lot of confidence right now.
Very nice entry pass that time from Collins to Hartford, who really used his body to seal and get a good look at the basket. Washington leads it 26-18 over Cornell, and John Brockman is a difficult player to miss at 6'7", 245 pounds, but Cornell left him all alone for another layup.
Gasser on the year has 9 assists and just 2 turnovers, which is a terrific percentage ratio. And he made a nice pass, first of all to locate Brockman, but then to execute the pass.
Gore with it, cross-court pass, and nice catch over there by Bobby Jones. So Washington has started to settle things down and take advantage of the zone defense, and the Huskies lead Cornell right now by 10, 28-18. Early, but since then, with 7:38 remaining in the opening half, it has been all Washington, and John Brockman is finding lots of room to operate, Larry.
Well, you see Gasser right here, he's double teamed, and he does a very nice job of keeping his head up, and he finds Brockman, who's worked his way to the basket. Now, you see Brockman, he's right here. He's just about to come into your screen. He realizes that his teammate is double teamed, slides right underneath the basket, gives that high hand target, so it's hard to miss him right there, and Gasser delivers the pass, and it looks like an easy play, but it was a very difficult play between 2 teammates that look for each other.
Brandon Roy back on, along with Jamal Williams. Mike Jensen back on the floor with Joel Smith. Dentman being pressured into a traveling violation. So another turnover for Washington. That is their 4th. 4 turnovers for Cornell as well. The Huskies shooting 58%, Cornell at 44.
You know, you mentioned earlier about Dentman being very careful and very protective of the ball. In the last 2 ball games, he's had 10 assists and just 4 turnovers. And as a freshman, when you get those double teams, you take a deep breath and you learn to attack one of those defenders at a time. You don't see them both, but you look right, you look left, and you try to pass it by one of those 2.
Good ball movement, making the extra pass, and Lenny Collins with the basket for Cornell. Now they trail the Huskies by just 7. Jamal Williams quickly at the other end, and it's back to 9.
The pace of the game picking up, both teams looking to get quick strikes before the defense has a chance to really set itself.
Collins being pressured once again by Dentman, and Cornell will have it in front of the Huskies bench. 6:45 remaining in the opening half, 20 on the shot clock. Paul Sunderland with Larry Farmer here at Heck Ed. Good crowd on hand. And if you come from Ithaca, New York, where all of the Cornell players do, this is very balmy weather because it can get cold in their part of the country. Lyle with a nice spin move down inside. He's got the basket for Cornell.
David Lyle, a senior, and they refer to him as kind of a floor burn guy. He's a hustler. He's going to make things happen on defense and offense. Sticks his nose in.
Jamal Williams with a stick back off the Husky miss. Talk about getting your nose down inside. Jamal Williams averaging 16 points a game, shooting 54% so far from the floor. 8 of the 12 Huskies on the roster shoot over 50%.
And that's a result of not only running your offense very efficiently, but players understanding what's good shots for them, what is a good shot for me, and then not playing outside of themselves, but playing within their role and their strengths.
Collins on the curl, not there. Brandon Roy with a long rebound. Williams with it, triple team. Jensen with some space, and he's tripped to the floor. And so that'll be free throws coming to the Huskies as Cornell is in the penalty. First personal foul, that was called on Andrew Nave. So Mike Jensen just still getting back into the flow for the Huskies. Averaged 6 points, 4 rebounds last year, started 34 games. He's only been to the free throw line twice, made one of those. It's going to take him a little while
to get that rust off, get himself back into game flow. It's one thing to exercise and keep those muscles strong. It's another thing to, be allowed to practice, but the game speed and pace and the quickness of an actual college basketball game is something that you can only adjust to by playing.
Set the Husky lineup for you. Dentman out there with Bobby Jones, Brandon Roy, Jensen, who just missed the free throw, along with Jamal Williams. Adam Gore, fine young player out of Monrovia, Indiana, yet to really get a look. That's going to come up well short that time by Lyle. Kick ahead to Roy, lays it up beautifully with the offhand, and will look to complete the three-point play.
Well, you talk about a quick strike. Anytime Cornell takes that quick shot, the Huskies are looking to get in transition, and Brandon Roy, that time, had assumed that shot was going to be missed and rebound, and got about a half a step head start on the defense, and that's all he needed.
Roy does complete the three-point play, now averaging over 19 points per game, 5 rebounds, 4 assists, a couple of steals and a block shot, but other than that, he's not doing much every night.
And again, there was so much pressure coming into this year about Brandon Roy, and should he not have tried to come out last year, and all of a sudden without Robinson or Conway Simmons, would he be able to put this team on his shoulder and play unselfishly or play selfishly at times and take the big shot, and he's certainly done that.
Beautiful play once again down inside by Jason Hartford. We showed you grandpa, uncle, and nephew a little while ago, and now Hartford continues to be the recipient of some good passes and some strong finishes down inside. Foul on Jensen.
And as he approached the ball, he got his hands up, so he was ready to catch, and he has great balance. So he wasn't falling forward where he might have been able to pick up a charge, but he caught the ball in balance and was able to go up strong.
That free throw is missed. Hartford, a perfect 4 for 4 so far from the floor. The Huskies continue to lead it by 10. Kick to Jensen, and he can make the three-pointer. That one was straight as an arrow, just a little bit long. Ryan Rourke with the rebound. Gore working on the dribble. Throws one up, anxious to get a shot, has that rim in and out.
Oh, the freshman has the guts of a burglar. He's from Indiana. He was third team All-State in Indiana. And you know what they say about guards from that state? They can all shoot.
2-on-1. Here comes Gore running with Rourke. Rourke goes up and has the shot rejected. Good play following it up. Ihekwezu gets the layup. So Cornell trailed by double digits. They've now cut that to 8. Jones, nice head fake, frees himself and kisses one in off the glass as easy as can be. Dangerous pass ahead to Rourke. Wide open, Hartford, even with all that bandage, he knocks down the three-pointer. Now he's got 11 to lead all scorers for Cornell.
Roy Hartford, a 44% shooter from behind the arc, just looked very comfortable in getting his feet set and letting that go.
Ill-advised foul about 30 feet out by Adam Gore, and Steve Donahue not happy about it, but got to be happy with the way his team is playing. Trailing the Huskies only 37-30. First half winding down. The number 7th ranked Washington Huskies over Cornell 37-30. A little more local flavor. Ryan Rourke from Bothell, Washington. Mother Pat on hand along with his brother Tyler and sister Leanne. Have to be very happy with the start that the younger Ryan has had so far against Washington.
Well, on this lob pass, Ryan Rourke, if he had been able to complete that lob pass dunk, that would have been the first dunk this season out of 11 games that Cornell would have been able to finish. Their first dunk.
That's a remarkable number, or lack thereof.
or scary. It all counts the same, but Division I basketball, you would think even on a steal that might have occurred, but we got that statistic from the RSID, Jeremy Haddock.
Both free throws good that time, as Cornell now 10 team fouls, so it'll be the double bonus for the Huskies the rest of the way. 3:35 remaining in the opening half. Washington on top by 9. Rourke very aggressive offensively. That off the side of the iron. Appleby takes the nice rebound. Rourke so far in the game just 1 of 5. Entry pass inside to Brockman. Uses that big body against Andrew Nave to lay it up and in.
And that play started in transition. Brockman just sprinted the floor and, as a smart post player, got himself right underneath the basket and sealed his defender. And his defender had no other choice either to foul him or let him score. It's a smart play by a freshman.
Brockman now a perfect 5 for 5, matching Jason Hartford. Kick outside to the three-point expert Adam Gore. Not there. Offensive rebound taken by Nave. Collins still playing with those 2 personal fouls. Rourke continues to fire from the outside. That one missed, and Appleby coming out of the backcourt. Hans Gasser has come on now for Washington. Pull-up jumper, and Brockman still perfect. 6 for 6. So after 3 relatively quiet games, as he finds out that when you step up into the Pac-10, other teams scout you and they know exactly what you want to do. You knew that John Brockman was, and he's just taking the game as it comes to him. He's not forcing anything.
He's not, and right here, he takes a one-bounce dribble, and instead of trying to get the ball all the way to the basket, he just pulls up because he's got that nice soft touch and takes that little 12-footer. Right here, you see, he just runs the floor. He knows he's got 3 seconds in the lane, so he seals the defender on the high side, gives that nice high target so Appleby can see him parked underneath the basket. The pass is delivered right where it should be, and he gets an easy look.
6-0 run over the last 1 minute and 11 seconds for John Brockman and the Washington Huskies, as they now take their largest lead at 43-30, 2:33 remaining in the opening half. Still full court pressure applied by Washington, and Bobby Jones, 6'7", very quick, very long in the backcourt, all over Graham Dow, the point guard for Cornell.
Well, Bobby Jones is the best perimeter defender for the Huskies, and he will oftentimes draw that assignment, whether it be a forward or a point guard. The better player on offense on that perimeter, Bobby Jones, is going to have his number.
Bobby Jones lost his shoe in the backcourt. Brockman had nowhere to go. The miss for Cornell was number 1. Hugo Ihekwezu trying to draw the foul down inside, just inside 2 minutes to go now in the first half.
Well, that's one way to get Jones off of you, is to get his shoe.
Well, look at the mismatch down inside. You've got Gore guarding Bobby Jones. Ball down inside. Beautiful play by Brockman. Used his offhand a little bit, but he is really controlling the inside now.
And when you use that offhand like he just did, as long as you don't really extend it, you can get away with it, especially at home.
Brockman now a perfect 7 for 7.
You see the nice little handoff that time on the screen roll, and the left arm does extend, but it extends in the normal framework of where that arm would be on a rebound. And again, screen roll, anticipates the shot, gets to the open spot, figures out ways to score.
Very nice entry pass inside to a white-hot Jason Hartford. Again, a player with local connections from Tillamook, Oregon. And he's matching Brockman shot for shot. Brockman's first miss, Brandon Roy down inside, out wrestling Lenny Collins.
And that's one of those quiet ways that Brandon Roy finds ways to beat opponents. You know, it's either a great pass, it's terrific defense, it's the extra pass that he makes, or it's sneaking in, getting a steal, or getting an offensive rebound.
Brandon Roy now with 7, leading the way is John Brockman with 14 to go along with 7 rebounds. Timeout was called with the Huskies leading 47-32. Want to remind Seahawk fans, you don't want to miss out on a special FSN Live tomorrow as we go one-on-one with Sean Alexander. Plus we hear from Seahawks legend Kurt Warner about what an MVP would mean to this franchise. We also have our experts weigh in on the debate. Chris Myers, Tim Brown, Jason Sehorn, and Jay Glazer. Alexander the Great tomorrow at 10 p.m. only on FSN.
Well, there are a lot of coaching changes in the NFL today. They were dropping like flies.
Well, it happens. A couple of them deserve to be fired.
Boy, as a former coach, that word is not one that I enjoy hearing. But it goes with the territory.
Hired, fired. They rhyme for a reason. Backdoor cut. Gore pulls it out. Adam Gore averaging 13 points per game. Another backdoor cut. Pull up by Collins, not there. Appleby with a good block out, and it is ruled off of Cornell. That one off Andrew Nave, and the Huskies will have it just under 54 seconds remaining in the first half.
Well, that's a big part of the Cornell offense. They don't run the Princeton offense per se. They run a version of the Princeton offense where there are a lot of back cuts, there are a lot of reading of the defenses, there's always movement, and there's always cutting. But right now, Cornell is certainly taking advantage of the pressure defense being applied by the Washington Huskies and constantly looking off dribble penetration to backdoor.
30-second timeout called by Lorenzo Romar to talk things over as we look inside the huddle of Cornell, coming in at 4-7, coached by Steve Donahue. Give you some of the numbers. Washington is shooting 61%, most of the damage being done by Jamal Williams, 5 for 7, and in particular, John Brockman, who just missed his first shot on 8 attempts. So combined, they are a mere 12 for 15. At the other end of the floor, Cornell is just 13 of 31, and they are playing at a quicker tempo than I think any of us anticipated from Steve Donahue. And they're getting some pretty good looks, but they got backdoor cuts. Thought they were layups, maybe in the Ivy League, but not against the Pac-10, not against Washington. A couple of blocks early, and now they're starting to second guess a little bit and double clutch.
You don't want to change your game. You don't want to change your method of attacking the basket. If there's a shot blocker back there, get your body into them and see if you can draw the foul and get to the free throw line.
Nice pass inside to Jensen. Just too much size up front against the pressuring Cornell Big Red. So an easy basket, and the shooting percentage will continue, as will the lead, now at its largest at 17.
And that's the byproduct of pressuring defense or trapping defense. The further away you get your defenders from the basket, the tougher it is to relocate, readjust, and get back to protect your basket.
Nice footwork that time by Rourke, who's been very aggressive offensively. Hartford doing most of the damage with 13. Rourke made his first shot, missed 5, and now has made his second basket on 7 shots. Appleby from way downtown, long rebound coming to David Lyle. Just a couple seconds remaining. Can half-court shot? It's on the way and off the side of the board. So about according to expectations, if you will. Washington and Cornell tied at 8, but then Lorenzo Romar and the Huskies went on a couple of runs, including 12-4 to close out the half, and it is the Huskies 49, the Cornell Big Red 34 at the half here at Heck Ed. College basketball on FSN Northwest is brought to you by Dodge. Grab life by the horns. By Red Lobster. We do it for the seafood lover in you. And by Macy's. Way to shop. Score at halftime here at Heck Edmondson Pavilion. Another very, very strong crowd on hand. Not quite a sellout, but close to about 8,000 or 9,000 as the Huskies lead Cornell 49-34. And look at some of the highlights from the first half, and a pretty solid place to go.
And Brockman just running the floor, working on both the offensive board and the offensive post to get quick seals and shot opportunities. He's letting the game come to him. He's not forcing anything. It's a great play by Jamal Williams, just posting up. So many of the Washington baskets have come at close range. As you see Brandon Roy, who really hasn't been a large part, a large focus of the offense. Maybe after scoring 70 points in 2 games, you don't have to be, but did a nice job of getting an offensive rebound put back.
There are your leading scorers. Brandon Roy, who you mentioned, Larry, just 7 points on 2 of 5 shooting. And I like his demeanor coming out just under control as we now look at Cornell, and they got some solid shooting as well.
And you see right there with Ryan Rourke running that back door against pressure, you want to attack the basket. And again, very patiently, excellent footwork by Rourke, not traveling, but keeping that foot firmly pressed to the ground and getting the nice look. And then they also did a nice job, Cornell, of interior passing. You saw Rourke make that pass to Hartford. Hartford right now is scoring at a torrid pace. He's 6 for 6 with 13 points.
And Hartford only averages about 9 points per game, 6 rebounds. Native of Tillamook, Oregon, as we mentioned, leading the way by far. Ryan Rourke with 8, Lenny Collins with 5. As we look at the first half numbers, the Huskies shooting lights out, 3-point field goals, nothing to write home about. But look at the rebound numbers, and many of those, of course, Larry coming at the offensive end.
And those happen when not only are you an athletic team, but you play smart, you play together, and you're not taking bad shots, but when you take shots and your teammates know they're going up, gives you an advantage of getting on that offensive board.
And there's another offensive rebound, initially off the Roy miss, and they're going right after Graham Dow at 6 feet, 175 pounds, trying to defend Brandon Roy down in the low post, and it created some problems on the weak side, and Brockman came in to take the rebound.
In the Husky offense, when you can spread the floor, if you are a perimeter player and you have an advantage size-wise, especially with Brandon Roy, he's allowed to take his man into the post, and they'll vacate that area and really look to exploit a mismatch. So not only are the Huskies a smart team, but they've got some mismatch personnel with the Brandon Roy, where they can really take advantage of some size matchups.
1 of 2 free throws up and good by John Brockman out of Snohomish, Washington. Everybody knows the story of how highly he was recruited. It came down to Duke, and the Huskies took a trip back to Duke and got back on the plane and said, nope, I've decided I'm going to be a Husky. Rourke, one dribble, pull-up jumper, 18-footer. That rims in and out, and Brandon Roy with a rebound. When I was making, Larry, about Brandon Roy, for some players, come back-to-back 35-point games, obviously a tremendous performance by Roy, but he has just played under such calmness and control. You can see his senior leadership. He's coming out against a team, they know they're going to win this game. He's not trying to light up the scoreboard. He's just playing a comfortable game.
And this goes back to what we talked about before with Brandon Roy, and everyone seeing that, you know, he spent his career here being unselfish, really not looking to light up the scoreboard or pad his scoring numbers. And so all of a sudden now, you know, as a senior, he becomes the focus. But he keeps that same calm demeanor. It's fun to play with guys like that, where they're not going to go out and force the issue, but they're going to play basketball, give everybody a chance to participate in the offense. Now when it comes down to crunch time and you need a basket, you know exactly who to go to.
Very poor play by Cornell. Jamal Williams made the first free throw, missed the second. Shooter knows where it's coming off. When he misses it, came right back to him, and he threw in the nice floater. Very poor play, though, however, by Cornell, and Washington now with a 53-34 lead. Backdoor cut, Hartford down, and that was Nave who missed that one. Collins with the offensive rebound, tries to stick it back, comes right back to him. Nice play. Staying with it is Lenny Collins.
You applaud their effort on that play, because Cornell did a nice job of assuming the shot was missed and really using an effort. And those were all effort plays to get those loose balls, to get to the rebounds, and allow themselves second shots.
Play down inside at the rim. Nice layup made by Graham Dow, and probably not good transition defense that will please Lorenzo Romar. Quiet first half for Justin Denton. Did not take a shot, did not have an assist. He does now to Bobby Jones coming off the curl.
And it just seems like the Husky offense is all being centered in that painted area where they're looking there, that first, that second, that third look. And if they're getting the ball in there, they're getting great high percentage shots at the basket.
Skip pass to Collins, pretty good three-point shooter. Has that one go way down and come back out. Brockman with another rebound.
That ball did everything except go in. It touched every part of the rim.
Strong move by Brandon Roy. They will not count the basket on the continuation, of which there is none in college basketball. Beautiful move, and he just put his head down and went right past Graham Dow.
With the floor spread like that, anytime he can get that open lane to the basket with his size and strength of 6'10", 210 pounds, Brandon Roy is going to take advantage of it.
4 personal fouls now on Graham Dow out of Burlington, Ontario. Williams pass back inside to Roy underneath the basket. Throws it up into the support, and now Williams kicks to Bobby Jones wide open. Three-pointer on the way. No. Nice play by Brandon Roy working the weak side.
What a way to be rewarded offensively with a layup. Brandon Roy did everything, keeping that ball alive, saving it, making an extra pass. And lo and behold, all that hard work, the ball comes right back to him. He gets an easy deuce.
Gore again, and Cornell's getting good wide open jump shots. They just cannot knock them down now. Just 2 of 12 from outside the arc, 41% overall, as Brandon Roy will inbound for Washington on the side. Washington led it 49-34 at the half. It was tied at 12, and then the Huskies went on a 14-4 run and have been in a pretty good comfort zone ever since.
Well, I think if Coach Romar had some issues with how his team was going to start the second half, and in particular the first 5 minutes, those have been answered, because I think the Huskies have been very aggressive. They've shared the ball. They put the ball in positions where they could get high percentage shots or fouls.
Very nice block down along the baseline that time by Jason Hartford, who continues to play superbly for Cornell. 13 points. Hasn't got a rebound yet, but not many of his teammates do either. Washington absolutely dominating the boards, 30-14 right now on Cornell. Collins, a good look at a three-pointer off the back of the iron, and you have Wizu back on. Good entry pass that time, and I'll tell you what, Hartford does a very good job of using his body to seal.
You know, and he gets great position. Half of scoring in the low post is establishing a good position before you even catch the ball. And he's doing a very intelligent job on the low post of sealing, positioning, and catching.
Dentman with the easy basket, driving right through Cornell's defense. The Huskies come in now, as you all know, 11-1 after having lost in double overtime to Arizona, and there is a pure long-range jump shot by Adam Gore.
Well, in their last ball game at Long Beach State, Adam Gore was 5 out of 9 from behind the arc. He had 20 points, and you know, when you have a freshman that can play on the road with that kind of toughness and maturity and confidence, you know, he's just going to get better.
Brockman looking down inside. Khalid Gant trying to slow down Brandon Roy, who just turns and goes right over the top of it. Brandon Roy now with 11 to go along with 5 rebounds and a couple of assists.
Well, he can play on the perimeter as a point guard or small forward or two guard, and again, with any mismatch in size, he can go right down in the low post, and he's equally comfortable inside as he is playing outside.
Hartford cut off along the baseline. Collins has gotten repeated good looks from outside the arc. That's 3 wide open looks he's had here in the opening stages of the second half and coming up dry. Dentman turns on the Jets. The basket will count. The foul is called on Adam Gore. So Justin Dentman will go to the free throw line to look to complete the three-point play. Great play by Justin Dentman, using his quickness getting to the basket, and he'll shoot free throws, or at least one anyway, when we come back. Washington all over Cornell right now with a 63-43 lead, and Justin Dentman is starting to get to the basket.
You know, your point guard, when he can beat the defense at the point of attack and penetrate it, you know, he has decisions to make, either lay it up or create a shot for a teammate. And right now, Justin Dentman is doing a terrific job of associating that dribble penetration with opportunities to score. He's only taken 2 shots, but they've both been layups.
And the free throw is not made, and so the Huskies struggling from the free throw line, something that caused them problems against Arizona. Rourke out of the backcourt. Wow, nearly an over and back violation. Ball ruled still legally in the backcourt.
His pivot foot was still in the backcourt, so even though he stepped over, he was still legally back there so he could pass the ball back.
Lyle, also out of Ontario, Canada, on the floor now, being hounded by Dentman. 8 on the shot clock. Lyle spins away. Nice pass into the corner, mishandled momentarily, but it goes right to the wide open shooter. Again, that rattles out by Adam Gore, but the rebound comes back to him.
Nice move on that up fake.
Cornell is getting repeated looks from the three-point line, and finally Lyle knocks one down. Cornell now, Larry, just 4 of 17 from three-point range.
And that's their style of play. They like to shoot those three-pointers. They average 20 three-point attempts per game. They've done that all year long. So, you know, the rule of thumb, if you're not making that outside shot, move it in a little bit, but they seem to live and die at times by that shot. And you can see if their players who are pretty good shooters are getting open shots by virtue of their offense, there are going to be times where those shots are going in.
Hartford working inside against Hans Gasser, who just came on, and that foul is going to be against Ryan Appleby of the Huskies, as Graham Dow still on the floor now with 4 personal fouls.
That dribble penetration starts from so far out, and you can see the contact right there. Ryan Appleby reaching in and just not allowing a clean look or an attempt at the basket.
Just Appleby's first personal foul, only 1 team foul on the Huskies, 4 on Cornell, and Hartford once again can't spin that one up and in, and the rebound taken by Jamal Williams. Joel Smith has come on the floor now. He's out there with Gasser, Appleby, Dentman running at the point.
Yeah, Joel Smith's minutes have gone up in the Pac-10. He's up around 24 minutes a game, and you can see why he provides instant offense when he comes in, and he's also a very physical player and plays very good defense.
Long pass intended for Jason Hartford, unsuccessful, and the turnover goes to Cornell, so the Huskies will take advantage. You mentioned Joel Smith out of Lone Polk, California. Just 5 points, 4 rebounds against Arizona, but did play 29 minutes. Some of that, of course, may be foul trouble to Brockman. That's a traveling violation. And a turnover is going to be called against the Huskies' Jamal Williams. That is just their 8th turnover so far of the game. First meeting ever between Lorenzo Romar's Washington Huskies and Steve Donahue's Cornell Big Red. But there are a lot of Northwest connections. Paul Fortier, certainly one of them, fine assistant coach on Lorenzo's staff. Spent 2 years at Cornell. What a player he was here for the Huskies. 13th leading scorer all time. Kicking to the corner to Rourke, another 3-point miss. Nave battling a good strong rebound with good inside position is Jamal Williams.
And you talked about Paul Fortier. He and his wife Elizabeth on New Year's Eve went to dinner with the Cornell basketball team. He said they called and invited he and his wife to join them, and because of the 2 years previous that he had spent on the Cornell staff, certainly involved in the lives and recruitment of their players and the coaching staff, said they had a nice time.
Hartford with good position again, but can't knock it down. Appleby, you can't give him any space whatsoever. He now has got his second 3 of the night, his 33rd of the year, and 8 points overall.
And he is so dangerous in transition. When you are sprinting down the floor, most defenses will run down the middle and then protect the basket and build out. When you're guarding Ryan Appleby, you've got to sprint down the side or wherever he is and find him and guard him.
Collins for 3 points, and a quick timeout is taken by Cornell. Once again, Cornell getting good looks at the basket, and Ryan Appleby knocks down a 3-pointer. And Washington, with 12-12 remaining in this contest, lead Cornell 68-49. There is Husky assistant coach Paul Fortier, who played here in Seattle from 1983 to 86. 1,326 points overall, had a 17-year career playing in France, Italy, Greece, and Spain. Just part of the Northwest connection for this game between the Huskies and Cornell. Ryan Rourke, Bothell High School, we've talked about him. Jason Hartford playing exceptionally well. We have yet to see Connor Mullen. Hopefully we will do so. Connor from Seattle and Bishop O'Day High School. Appleby trapped near midcourt.
All those players recruited by Coach Fortier with his connections here in the Northwest.
Ball is turned over. Weezu picks it up for Cornell. So the Huskies now leading it by 19. But want to stay sharp, want to stay very, very solid at both ends of the floor.
And this is where Washington can't let down. You know, you've got to lead, but you've got to continue to do the things that got you to lead. You're all about improving. When you have a non-conference game, not in the middle of your conference, but during the conference season, you don't want to take any steps back, particularly coming off of a loss or game against Arizona. You want to make sure that you continue to improve game by game. So this is one of those games that you've got to make sure you're getting better.
So some pressure defense by Cornell forces a turnover, and now it is a 17-point lead for Lorenzo Romar's Huskies. We're back at Heck Edmondson Pavilion. Washington leading Cornell by 17, and more college basketball coming your way. This Saturday, it's a full day of college hoops. First up, the Husky women are in Pullman to face off against the rival Cougars. Then OSU is at Cal, followed by the Apple Cup of men's basketball right here in Seattle. The action starts Saturday at 1 p.m. only on FSN Northwest. You and I will be here for that one, Larry, between Washington State and Washington.
Pace will be of primary importance in that ball game. Which style will win?
Good style points that time for Ryan Rourke, and Cornell is doing a very good job spacing the floor and then getting the ball down inside, and this is just a great finish.
And he finishes the ball on the other side because he anticipates the shot block. And Rourke is an athletic player who can elevate and then stay in the air long enough to change sides of the basket with the ball. So an extra move maybe not necessary, but great execution.
8-0 run now for Cornell. They once trailed by 20, and they've cut the Huskies' lead to 14 at 68-54, just under 11 minutes remaining. And Cornell showing some full court pressure.
A 1-3-1 half-court trap, get one real good double team, and then back to a zone.
Good ball movement by the Huskies, and Mike Jensen bodying his way through some contact, gets the basket.
You want those kind of plays from Mike Jensen, your fifth-year senior. You know, with that strong body, the ability to draw contact and still finish. You want him to get in a game or come in a game and bang and move people around. You want him to rebound, get high percentage shots, and then move his offense back where he can be dangerous from that three-point line.
Gore, one dribble, pull up three-pointer, not close. Rebound taken by Jensen. Mike just 4 points, a couple of rebounds so far. Brandon Roy, nice unselfish play looking for Gasser. Washington a little bit out of control. And now they will set and resettle, and an air ball from Brandon Roy, and the ball is lost out of bounds off of Collins, and it will be the Huskies' ball with 21 seconds to shoot.
And you look at Brandon Roy, there was excellent ball movement to get the ball reversed to his side and shoot the three. And he shoots it, and he shoots an air ball. It doesn't faze him. You know, he calls the team together, he huddles up, he calls the inbounds play, and he just moves on. And that's all a part of what we talked about earlier, him playing within himself, him being very comfortable with his role on the team, not forcing anything, and just playing within himself.
Nice inbounds play by Washington. They get the score out of it. You got to guard the player. Be very aware of Joel Smith as Artem Wallace out of Toledo, Washington. So Romar like that. He said, hey, I draw up the inbounds plays.
The most dangerous player on the inbounds pass is the inbounder. And Smith, very, very smart play. Stepped inbounds, had a good shot, saw his teammate Artem Wallace, had a better shot, makes the extra pass. That's a fun way to play basketball.
Wallace, who did not play in the first half, comes in and strikes immediately after the good ball movement. And again, Washington continues to shoot the ball poorly here in the second half from the free throw line.
Well, this is the first action for Artem Wallace in the last three ball games. Did not play in the two openers. But, you know, he's a player that's just getting better. He's got a great upside. He's a terrific rebounder, defender, and can score around the basket.
Off the Husky turnover, Cornell will have it. The Huskies just 2 of 6 from the free throw line here in the second half. But they continue to lead it comfortably, 72-54 over Cornell.
Washington again in that man-to-man defense, really pressuring up and playing the basketball, and you've got to be very alert on the help side.
Collins frees himself again, and once again another good look from the outside, but Cornell now just 5 of 21 from outside the arc.
Boy, and Lenny Collins really struggling. You know, in the last ball game that Cornell played at Long Beach State, he had 27 points, and he was 6 out of 7 from behind the line. So, you know, he comes into this game averaging 14 points a game. He was all Ivy League last year and projected to be all Ivy League this year. And he's just not knocking down those shots, just not in a good rhythm.
4 of 13 overall, 2 of 9 from outside the arc, and I can't remember one that was really contested. They were all pretty much wide open looks at the basket.
Now the good news is he's executing and getting open. The bad news is he's just not finishing today.
Ball blocked from behind by Detman as Graham Dow tried to get to the rim. So David Lyle, also out of Canada, will inbound. Dow almost lost it along the sideline. Still plenty of time to shoot for Cornell. There's one of their backdoor cuts down inside. Good hesitation. Good unselfish. Oh, a traveling violation is going to be called against Jason Hartford, and that's about the first mistake he has made all evening long against the Huskies. Again, still wearing that heavy wrap and pad on that right wrist that he injured against Syracuse. Continued to play and eventually had to sit out a number of games, just his 3rd game back.
Yeah, that's on his right hand, and they said every time Hartford caught the ball, it hurt. So he actually started catching the ball with the left hand. He said he's ambidextrous and does a terrific job of using the offhand, but couldn't catch it with his right hand.
Dentman with a pull-up jumper, and he continues to have a solid second half after going scoreless. And without an assist in the first half, he now has 8.
Cornell offense. They are constantly moving and cutting.
And the spacing is good. And Hartford is very active down inside. Rourke got away with a travel. The floater along the baseline, not there. Good strong rebound taken by Jensen. So 7:55 remaining in this one. It's been all Washington since about 8 minutes gone in this game. Mostly because of that. Absolutely controlling the boards and getting second and third opportunities. So on that foul by Adam Gore, it'll be 3 free throws coming to Justin Detman when we come back. Washington led by 20 to start the second half, and that's where they are right now, up 74-54 over Cornell. If you're just joining us, Washington, first time ever they have met up with Cornell out of the Ivy League, and a lot of reading going on if you go to the Ivy League, sometimes about the classroom, sometimes about basketball.
Well, the upperclassmen all read basketball books. And one of the books that Ryan Rourke and the seniors are currently reading is Coach Wooden's basketball book, A Lifetime of Reflections and Observations. And what they've done is the seniors read these books and they pass these along to the underclassmen, and they tell them that they want them to read and understand and appreciate the game of basketball. Coach Wooden's book, Michael Jordan's book. So I guess if you want to talk about hazing in the Ivy League, the seniors at Cornell make the freshmen at Cornell read basketball books.
That's how they define hazing in the Ivy League.
It's a little different there.
11 points all coming in the second half now for Justin Detman. He's perfect 3 for 3 from the floor, 5 for 6 from the free throw line. Huskies now lead it by their largest margin, 23-77-54. Andrew Nave back on for Cornell, trying to find some room down inside. Too much traffic to get that ball to Ihekwezu, but it eventually does find Ugo Ihekwezu, and he lays that ball up and in.
Ihekwezu is very athletic, and he's not a good scorer per se. He's a defender, a rebounder, a hustle player. You can see from the way he elevated on that shot, he high jumped 6'4.5" in high school, so he really knows how to get up. But he was a recipient that time of a very good basketball play by Lenny Collins.
Brandon Burmeister out of Mercer Island wearing number 11 on the floor now, and John Brockman has also come back on. Smith on the dribble. Wallace attacking down inside, uses the left hand, tries to keep it alive. Brockman with another rebound. Throws it up off the rim and out of bounds, and that will be ruled off of the Huskies, and Cornell will have it with 6:53 remaining.
Cornell continuing to bring in fresh players.
They started that right from the beginning. The first substitutions were made by head coach Steve Donahue, now in his 6th year at Cornell in Ithaca, New York. He brought in 3 or 4 players with 2 minutes gone in the game, and I thought, boy, what did they do wrong? But that has just been the pattern. Keeping fresh legs on the floor and just cannot find a 3-point shot that'll go down. And Cornell has run their offense effectively and gotten lots of open looks. Pass inside to Brockman, squares up, not there. Rebound taken by Adam Gore. Cornell just 5 of 22 from 3-point range. And again, I can't remember one that was really under great duress.
No, and for a team that averages 59 points a game, you know, that's an awful lot of threes, and in particular with Washington in a man-to-man defense. You would think that a zone defense would be more inviting for the 3-point shot, but that today has certainly been a part of the Cornell attack.
And Cornell, usually pretty reliable, 37% from outside the arc. Lenny Collins will get to the free throw line to shoot a pair.
Collins had about 30 members of his family at the Long Beach State game, which really had to be exciting for him to leave New York and come back home as a senior and play in front of so many people that watched him grow up and play in high school.
That foul was on Artem Wallace, who heads over to the sideline along with Joel Smith, having a word with Lorenzo Romar. Collins good on the free throw, and substitutions will come back on. Jason Hartford will come back with Ihekwezu. Hartford has quieted some after a big first half, 13 points for Cornell. He now has 15 on 7 of 9 shooting. Appleby is back on. Jensen wide open 17-footer. Brockman just controlling down inside, can't save it. And Gore has got it for Cornell.
And that little half-court trap that Cornell is throwing at Washington has been effective because it's forced Washington to play a lot quicker in their half-court set. You know, they want to play up-tempo in transition, but it's forced them to take some quicker shots than I think Coach Romar is comfortable with.
Collins, one dribble, pull-up jumper, and that three-pointer is good. You can almost see that little bit of, we got an injury at the other end. We'll get to that momentarily. That is Andrew Nave, who turned an ankle and went down, but you'd almost say finally when Collins made this three-pointer.
Well, it's a nice sweep throw on that fake dribble to the left and buries that shot. See right here, very fundamentally sound move. He fakes as if he's going to the left, moves to the right on the one bounce, and shoots it over Appleby. It's like he looks over at the bench. It's about time.
Medical staff from Cornell is tending to their starting center, Andrew Nave, out of Miles, Iowa. And anybody who's played basketball, unless you're the luckiest man on earth, has at one time or another stepped on somebody's foot, twisted an ankle, and hopefully he will be able to return.
Well, he's 5th on the all-time list at Cornell in shot blocking with 65, and you know he's just a junior, so a valuable part of their defense and offense.
His high school graduating class had all of 48 students in it. And when he was being recruited by Steve Donahue, he stuck out because there was nobody else on the team or on the floor in that game over 6 feet tall. Collins with an ear steal. He's going to take it up against Detman, spins that up, not there. Iheakwezu battling for the rebound, and Cornell will take the basketball, and they are on a 7-0 run. They continue to play, and the lead, which was once very, very comfortable at 24 for Washington, has been cut to 16. Now it's 77-61.
That's one of the areas where Lenny Collins, I think, gets overlooked. He's a smart defender. He knows what to do on the perimeter, and you know he baited the Huskies into trying to make that cross-court pass, and he did everything you should do defensively, except once he stole the ball, his finish on the strong side of the basket. I thought the movement to the other side of the basket created a much more difficult shot than he needed to take.
Foul away from the play called on John Brockman, his first. 4th team foul for the Huskies, 16 fouls on Cornell. We approach the 5-minute mark left in this game. First ever meeting between Washington and Cornell. Nice backdoor cut once again, and with the layup is Jason Hartford. Just his second basket of the second half. He has played very impressively.
And that was perfectly set up by the passer watching the screener.
Jensen open along the baseline, not there, and Brockman will easily clean things up. Brockman now with 17 points on 7 of 10 shooting, his 4th double-double. He's also got 12 rebounds.
Right, that's just a man's rebound, going up and getting that ball strongly and not leaving any time.
Adam Gore with a three-pointer for Cornell, so now Collins and Gore combined for back-to-back threes, and Detman having a very, very big second half for the Huskies. 13 points now, 4 of 4 from the floor, and the Huskies are shooting 56%.
And I don't recall Detman doing anything except driving that ball to the basket. He got fouled on the one three-point attempt, but other than that, everything he's done has been off the dribble right to the goal.
Gore thought about another three, and Brockman denies the entry pass that time. Idea was there, and Cornell has been going to that particular play all evening long. Burmeister with it on the perimeter. Back to Jensen, still looking for his stroke, not quite there, and the flat-footed rebound taken by Cornell's Graham Dow.
That play was nicely executed with Jensen screening and popping, but didn't appear he had his legs underneath him, and on his shot, he's left 2 shots short.
Jensen battles for the rebound, and look what I found. Comes right back to Graham Dow, who's very, very important to the future success of Cornell, and had a sports hernia that bothered him last year, and then it was diagnosed as something more serious as a pelvic stress fracture, and little by little he's playing more and more minutes, but they still have to monitor that very, very carefully. Burmeister from long range, not there, and the rebound taken again by Jason Hartford.
Yeah, Dow actually spent 7 months doing all of his physical work, all of his training in a pool, not to put any more pressure on that pelvic area, and he thinks that he actually did it as a youngster playing hockey, because I guess that injury is more common to hockey players than certainly it is to basketball players.
Hockey, very dangerous game. But if you're Canadian and you play hockey, and just like that, because of some nice ball movement by Cornell, the Huskies lead, which was once 23 or 24, is now down to 13.
Right here, as play starts, Graham Dowsey's Mike Jensen is actually out in the passing lane trying to help on the cut. You see Mike Jensen right there. He goes out to help on the shooter coming out and neglects to play his man, Jason Hartford, who goes back door. And that's one of the rules of the Cornell offense, is anytime you see your man high in the passing lane, your rule is to take one step high and then the reverse cut. Just nicely executed by their offense against pressure defense.
So both teams coming out of their respective huddles, and we talked at halftime about what Washington would want to accomplish in the second 20 minutes, and that Lorenzo Romar, who kept his team in the locker room for quite some time, would want solid play, sharing the ball, work hard. But here it is Cornell who keeps cutting back into this lead by Washington. So I don't think Lorenzo Romar is going to be particularly happy with his second 20 minutes, but give Cornell some credit. They have not gone away.
And, Coach Romar has gone to his bench, and he substituted now, and he's got a lot of players in, that aren't starters. But, with all the minutes that these kids have gotten through the course of the season, based on how they were putting teams away, you certainly expect them to come out with that experience and play a lot better and continue to build on the lead that their starters work so hard to get.
Yeah, that's a great point. We have not seen hardly anything of Jamal Williams, Brandon Roy, Bobby Jones, etc. for several minutes. So obviously you put those caliber of players on the sideline, and Cornell is continuing to play with all of their starters virtually, so they have cut into this lead. Nice pass down inside and rejected by Artem Wallace. And a foul is going to be called in the backcourt. And so with 2:08 remaining, we'll step aside for just a moment with the Huskies leading Cornell by 15. The Huskies on top of Cornell by a score of 83-68. And time now for our Red Lobster. Nothing but net shot of the game. And it will come from Ryan Appleby. And if you're a defender, you have to know where Appleby is. He's 2 for 3 from outside the arc tonight.
And that's one of those elements that Appleby brings to this Washington team, because Washington is so good on the inside with their post-up players, with Williams and Brockman, Gasser, that you have to have a perimeter defender out there on him. You can't double team off the perimeter, because if you do and you leave Appleby open, he's a great outside shooter. And when you account for Appleby, that leaves those inside players oftentimes allowed to operate one-on-one.
The lead back up to 17 for the Huskies as virtually all of their starters sit on the sideline except for Justin Detman, who's having a superb second half. 15 points, a couple of assists, perfect from the floor, 4 for 4, 7 of 8. And he did not score, nor did he take a shot in the first half.
Oh, good hands.
Oh, nice play working Detman in the backcourt. The shot clock will not reset, so Dow quickly coming out of the backcourt. Gore thought about and spots up and buries a 3. Connor Mullen out of Seattle's Bishop O'Day High School wearing number 22 on for the first time now for Cornell. Matched up against Artem Wallace. There is Appleby. He has got a quick release. That one is missed, and Rourke takes the rebound. So as we've mentioned, next up for Washington, it will be the Washington State Cougars right here on Fox Sports Northwest. That'll be next Saturday. And then after that, the Huskies travel to USC and UCLA.
And those are going to be big games for UCLA. They go on the road to the Arizona schools, and having split at home, you've got to at least get a split on the road, and you can come back and hold serve if you want to compete for a Pac-10 championship.
All of those games in Los Angeles. SC UCLA will be on Fox Sports Net. Zane Potter comes on the floor now out of Boring, Oregon, the 6'6" senior, a walk-on. originally on the crew team when he came to Washington, and prior to that, when he was just a kid, he was an alpine skier. But when he grew tall and alpine skiing, that's got orthopedic surgery written all over it, so he took up basketball.
Yep.
Off the turnover, excuse me, Larry. Cornell will have it. This one is winding down, and it's been an easy second half for Washington. The lead was as much as 24. It maybe dwindled, if you will, after a couple of three-point makes. That one's going to come up well wide, and on the end line, Washington will have it once again. The Lorenzo Romar sitting most of his starters throughout the last 10 or 12 minutes of this game. A look at Connor Mullen, who just missed that three-point attempt. Zane Potter, and it's more than the popularity of his name. He has become a real fan favorite because of his hard work. Artem Wallace off the backboard, not there, and a rebound is taken, and this one will wind down. So the Huskies will start another winning streak here at Heck Edmondson Pavilion. And that shot rims in and out by Connor Mullen. And Lorenzo Romar's team will improve to 12-1 and have a couple of days of solid focus and practice as they get ready for Washington State.
Well, you think that Coach Romar's got to be pleased overall, especially with the way his Husky team started that second half, which had been a concern of his. To come out focused and motivated, to get the ball inside, high percentage shots, and then I thought overall the Husky defense on the perimeter was very good.
Solid performance and an easy win for the Huskies over Cornell by a score of 87-71. Stay with us. When we come back, we'll have a conversation with John Brockman of the Huskies.